No fame, no movie stars, no cameras, no red carpets. You wake up in Los Angeles, but it's not the city you know. There are no skyscrapers, no highways, no Hollywood sign on the hills, just dust, heat, and a small settlement struggling to survive. The streets are unpaved, horses move slowly through dry air. Buildings are low, made of adobe and wood. This is Los Angeles in 1850, a place where survival matters more than dreams. But hidden inside this quiet, dusty town is the beginning of a city that will one day shape global culture. Right now, no one sees it, because in 1850, Los Angeles is barely holding together. In 1850, Los Angeles is barely a city in the modern sense. It has only recently become part of the United States after the Mexican-American War, and the transition is still fresh. Laws are changing. Authority is uncertain, and many residents are still adjusting to a completely new system of government. The population is small, fewer than 2,000 people, spread across a wide, dry landscape. At the center of the town stands the Los Angeles Plaza, a simple open space surrounded by adobe buildings. This is where everything happens. Markets form here in the mornings. News spreads here. Disputes are argued here. It is both the social and political heart of the settlement. Most homes are built from sun-dried adobe bricks designed to keep out the intense California heat. The streets are unpaved, turning to thick dust under the sun and mud after rare rains. There are no clear city boundaries. Beyond the plaza, the town quickly fades into ranch land, fields, and open wilderness. This is not a structured city. It is a frontier outpost, growing, unstable, and constantly changing. Daily life in Los Angeles in 1850 is shaped by one constant force: the environment. The air is dry almost every day. Fine dust covers the streets, the buildings, even the clothes people wear. With every step, small clouds rise from the ground. When horses pass through town, the dust lingers in the air long after they're gone. The streets are unpaved. In the dry season, they are rough and dusty. But when rare rains arrive, the same streets turn into thick mud, slowing movement and making travel difficult. Water is one of the most valuable resources. Residents depend on simple irrigation channels to bring water from nearby rivers. Every drop matters, for drinking, for crops, for survival. Homes are basic. Most are made of adobe, which helps keep interiors cool during the heat of the day. Inside, life is simple. Furniture is minimal. Supplies are limited. Outside, daily routines continue. Farmers work the land under the hot sun. Ranchers move cattle across open terrain. Merchants sell goods in small shops near the plaza. Everything feels exposed. There are no large systems to protect the town from heat, drought, or hardship. In Los Angeles, survival depends on adapting to the land and enduring whatever it brings. In the early 1850s, Los Angeles develops a reputation that spreads far beyond California, not for wealth, not for opportunity, but for danger. This is a town where law exists, but is rarely strong enough to control what happens in the streets. The local sheriff and a small group of deputies try to maintain order, but their reach is limited. There are too few officers for a growing and unpredictable population. Outside the central plaza, control becomes even weaker. Disputes over land, money, or personal honor often escalate quickly. Arguments turn into fights. Fights turn into shootings, and justice is not always decided in a courtroom. Sometimes it is decided in the street. Bandits operate along the roads leading in and out of the town. Travelers risk robbery, especially at night. Merchants transporting goods must stay alert. Even inside Los Angeles, violence can erupt without warning. Saloons become places where tensions rise. Alcohol fuels conflicts, and small disagreements can turn deadly in moments. For many residents, safety depends not on laws, but on awareness, on reputation, and sometimes on carrying a weapon. In this version of Los Angeles, survival means more than earning a living. It means knowing how to navigate a place where order is fragile and danger is always close. Just 2 years earlier, in 1848, everything changed. Gold was discovered in Northern California. News spread slowly at first, then all at once, and suddenly, tens of thousands of people began moving west. This became known as the California Gold Rush. Most of the fortune seekers were heading north toward the gold fields near the Sierra Nevada. But the journey was long, dangerous, and uncertain. Many travelers passed through Los Angeles on their way. The town became a temporary stop, a place to rest, buy supplies, repair equipment, and gather information. Hotels filled quickly. Markets became crowded. Prices for food, tools, and animals began to rise. Some merchants made more money selling supplies than miners did digging for gold. And not everyone continued north. Some people arrived in Los Angeles, saw opportunity in trade and land, and decided to stay. This brought new energy to the town, but also new pressure. More people meant more competition, more tension between cultures, and more strain on a place that was already fragile. The gold rush didn't just bring wealth to California, it reshaped towns like Los Angeles, long before they were ready. Los Angeles in 1850 is not just a small town, it is a place where different worlds are suddenly forced to live side by side. For decades, Californio families, people of Spanish and Mexican descent, had shaped life here. They owned large ranchos, controlled land, and followed traditions built over generations. But now, new settlers are arriving rapidly from the eastern United States and Europe. They bring different laws, different languages, different expectations. English begins replacing Spanish in official documents. American legal systems start redefining land ownership. And this creates tension, because many longtime residents struggle to prove ownership of their land under new rules. Some lose property they have held for years. Others are forced into legal battles they cannot afford. Meanwhile, new arrivals move quickly to claim land, open businesses, and gain influence. The town begins to divide socially and economically. Cultural misunderstandings grow, distrust spreads, and in a place where law enforcement is still weak, conflicts can escalate quickly. Los Angeles is no longer just a frontier town. It is becoming a contested space where identity, power, and survival are constantly colliding. For most people living in Los Angeles in 1850, life is not about ambition or long-term success. It is about getting through the day. Food must be secured, often through small trade, farming, or livestock. Water is not always easy to access, and during dry periods it becomes one of the most valuable resources in the entire region. Work is inconsistent. Some days bring opportunity. Other days bring nothing. A single bad week can push a family into serious hardship. And beyond the struggle for basic needs, there is always the risk of danger. Conflicts can start suddenly. Disputes over land, money, or personal issues can escalate quickly. There are few strong institutions to protect ordinary people. no reliable system to guarantee safety. This creates a constant sense of uncertainty. People learn to stay alert, to avoid unnecessary risks, to trust only those they know well. Because in a town like this, survival is not guaranteed. It is something that must be earned every single day, and for many residents, the idea of building a future feels secondary to simply staying alive in the present. Despite the instability, something begins to shift in Los Angeles during the early 1850s. It happens quietly at first. More settlers arrive, not just passing through, but choosing to stay. Small plots of land are claimed, farms begin producing more consistently, and local trade slowly increases. What was once a loose settlement starts to take on the structure of a growing town. Merchants open new shops near the plaza. Blacksmiths find steady work repairing tools, wagons, and horseshoes. Ranchers expand their herds, supplying meat and hides to nearby regions. Trade routes become more active, connecting Los Angeles to other parts of California. With more people comes more demand, more food, more goods, more services, and slowly the town begins to stabilize. Local authorities attempt to impose stronger control. Basic systems of law and order improve, even if only slightly. Violence does not disappear, but it becomes less unpredictable. For the first time, some residents begin to see Los Angeles not just as a place to survive, but as a place where a future might be built. It is still fragile, still uncertain, but the first real signs of growth are now visible. And beneath the dust and instability, the foundation of a much larger city is beginning to form. If you stand in Los Angeles in 1850 and look around, nothing suggests that this place will one day become one of the most influential cities in the world. There are no signs of fame, no film studios, no theaters filled with actors, no global attention, only a small, struggling town surrounded by open land. The streets are quiet compared to major cities back east. Dust moves with every step, rising into the dry air. Simple adobe buildings line the roads, many worn by heat and time. Life here feels uncertain, unfinished. Most residents are focused on immediate needs: food, water, safety, and work. Long-term dreams feel distant because survival comes first. And yet, beneath this ordinary and even fragile surface, something important is quietly forming. Los Angeles sits in a region with access to land, trade routes, and natural resources. More settlers will arrive, infrastructure will improve, connections to the rest of the country will strengthen. What looks like a forgotten frontier town is actually a foundation, a beginning, because history often hides its biggest transformations in places that seem insignificant at the time. And Los Angeles in 1850 is one of those places, a city not yet defined, but already moving toward a future no one there can fully imagine. The contrast between Los Angeles in 1850 and the city it will become is almost impossible to comprehend. Today, people think of Los Angeles as a place of fame, luxury, and global influence, a city of movie stars, massive studios, and endless opportunity. But in 1850, none of that exists. There are no film sets, no cameras, no industry built on storytelling. Only a small, unstable settlement surrounded by dry land and uncertainty. Back then, Los Angeles is not a destination for dreams. It is a place where survival comes first, where people worry about water, safety, and basic resources, where conflict is common and the future feels unclear. And that is what makes this moment in history So powerful. Because standing in this dusty town with its quiet streets and fragile economy, no one could possibly imagine that one day this same place would shape global culture, influence millions of people, and become one of the most recognizable cities on Earth. It is a reminder that even the most ordinary places can become extraordinary. What you've just seen is a reconstruction of Los Angeles in 1850, long before Hollywood film studios and global fame transformed the city. The streets, buildings, and atmosphere were recreated using AI reconstruction technology to visualize how this early frontier town may have looked during a time when survival mattered more than dreams.